Okay, so we're shooting 50 rounds of buckshot today, and I want to clean the chamber of the barrel because we had an FTE last time and that wasn't so fun. I don't really want FTEs during my testing because the chamber's dirty, or there's some junk in the chamber. So we're going to clean the chamber of the barrel really well, and then we're going to polish it with some fine grade honing compound. And I look down in there, it's pretty shiny already, but we're just going to clean it up. We're going to wipe it out. We're going to polish it. We're going to wipe it out, and then we're going to oil it. And then we're also going to do a little bit of maintenance on the wooden forend because it's getting a little oil on it. So let's get started here. We got automatic transmission fluid. And we're going to put just a little bit of that on here. Not too much. Not too much because it's already got, all you need is a little bit, a little dab will do you. And we got a drill mounted cleaning rod here. And it's a bronze brush, so it's not going to hurt too much just to put some good old-fashioned speed on this. There we go. We're going to swab it out to get all that ATF out of there. I'm just going to put a piece of swab on here. This is a 20 gauge swab. So a 20 gauge swab and a 12 gauge barrel. Just allows the wipe to fit in there better. There we go. So that's 45 rounds of shooting there. And we'll just do one more, just for good measure. All right. We're going to put our 12 gauge swab on there. Because we want things to be a little bit, we want the tolerance just to be a little bit tighter during the polishing. And here's the thing about putting polishing compound in your gun. It will wear out the gun. So you put it in there, put it on the swab, put it in there, do the polishing, and then you clean it to get all that compound out of there. And this is just knife sharpening compound, but it'll do the trick. And I want to get a good amount on there. This is a beeswax compound mixed with polishing grit. So I suppose it helped to warm it up a little bit. I didn't do that. All right, that's good. I like that. So this is going to go directly in the chamber. And we're going to run it for a minute. And you can see some steels coming off of there. It's getting darker. It's getting much darker. And this is fine compound, so it's not really going to hurt the tolerances of the barrel too much. It's just going to take off any roughness, minor roughness. Right on. So there you go. You can see that was the polishing right there. There you go. Things get a little bit tight when you put them on a drill. Oh yeah, time for a wrench. Just real gentle there. All right. And we're just focusing on the chamber. I'm not going to clean out the barrel because it's only got 50 rounds on it. So now we're going to clean out that polishing compound again. Put this 20 gauge swab on here. It's just slightly smaller diameter. Just get all that grit out of there. Some beeswax in there too, but and we're going to do one more. There we go. You don't want to leave freaking polishing grit in your gun, dude. It's bad juju. Especially if you're doing this with like a precision rifle. Any kind of like rifle, that would be a big no-no because that grit will wear out the barrel, man, for sure. If you leave that grit in there and start shooting through it, that'll wear out the barrel for sure. And then we're gonna oil. It's not too complicated. Basically just stick your finger in there. There, it's nice and oily. This is the honing compound I used. Bocker with leather conditioner. A little bit of beeswax doesn't hurt. All right, so I'm looking at the forend, and I'm seeing some places where there's just a little bit of oil coming, just migrating onto the wood. It's a little bit slippery. So I got ethanol, which comes in handy for a lot of things, denatured ethanol. And I got some dry wipes. And what I want to do is the ethanol is 100% ethanol. It's not the kind for drinking. The ethanol is actually a known chemical for soaking the oil up out of the wood. And I'm just gonna go in here just real nice like and just wipe this down. Not too much. And I'm just gonna wipe this down around here too. This is just maintenance, standard maintenance, because you don't want freaking gun lubrication getting in your walnut. And that dries it out. That dries out the wood really good. Just evaporates. That oil soaks up into the rag. So we'll just let that dry up a little bit. Then also you can see in here is where I repaired the crack from last time. And it looks like it's still strong. So that's good. So now I'm just going to disassemble, clean and lube the rest of the gun, and then we'll talk about our shooting for today. Okay, so here's something interesting. The locking block on the bolt, which is this piece right here. This is the locking block. You can see that there's some wear at the top of this here. See that? And looking at the side, it's still fairly perpendicular, the locking block. It's got a little bit of an angle to it, but still fairly perpendicular. But that wear is something that I'm a little bit concerned about. I mean, it takes a pounding. It takes a real pounding. These are 2 3/4 shells. Mostly what I've been using is 2 3/4. But man, if you put some 3-inch shells in there, some high-powered turkey load, or some 3-inch Magnum slugs, I'm not sure exactly what would come of this locking block. There's a little bit of a burr on the top here, just a little bit. So we're going to take that burr down just gently, because I don't want anything keeping the locking block from going all the way up. This is the ledge for the locking block here. And if there's a burr sticking up on there, it's going to prevent the locking block from going all the way upward. It's just a teeny tiny burr, man, like, you know, 0.2 millimeters or 0.1 millimeters or something. We're just going to take that down real quick. Just a little bit. Just real gentle. Real gentle. There we go. Real gentle. It's definitely hard steel. I mean, I'm feeling it. There we go. That's the direction to go right there. There you go. You can hear it catch, right? Hear that burr catch? That's the way to do it. It's definitely hard steel. There we go. Starting to feel a little bit better. Let's get this side too. Didn't take off enough to change the function of the locking block, but just enough to take off that burr. There you go. Smooth. Okay. So we're going to keep an eye on this for future shooting. Right on. Okay. Another thing I did was I cleaned up and lubed all the joints for the lifter mechanism. So I put lube here and here and down in here on the pivot pin. And then I put lube between these two parts here, this one and this one, and on this pivot pin. And then I lubed this surface here. And then I exercised everything. Like that. You can see in there, right, this joint here, if this had, gunk in it, it wasn't properly lubed, this joint here would significantly hinder the movement of this arm, the lifter arm. So, and I haven't paid a lot of attention to that recently, I just haven't paid a lot of attention to that. So it feels smoother now that I lubed it and wiped it and lubed it again. Feels a lot smoother. So that might assist. See the spring in this housing here pushing on this pin? That's what causes the lifter to go up and down. See that? And it's a pretty stiff spring. But all of these pivot points on here are also going to affect the smoothness and the speed at which the lifter returns to zero. That's zero position. It's up. It's like 20 degrees, 25 degrees. That's zero position. So I'm just going to oil this one more time just for demonstration. Put one here. One here. Put oil between these two parts here. Oil here. Oil under here. and then down inside here where the lifter and the pivot pin are attached. And then you just work this, and working it with the oil in it helps to mobilize any kind of gunk that might be in there. Oh yeah, I keep doing that. That's just funny. And then you don't want a whole lot of oil like rolling around inside the gun. So after you flex this a bunch, exercise it a bunch, just come back and just kind of dab off the outside surfaces, because those it's not necessary for the outside to be oiled anyway. And that does feel smoother, so that's a good thing. That's a good thing to do. Okay, man, so everything's lubed, cleaned and lubed. I cleaned out, and I cleaned everything, cleaned and lubed everything. Every little pivot point, every sliding surface. Cleaned out the mag tube with some clean wipes, and it was dirty. The mag tube was dirty. Oiled the mag tube a little bit, the spring, the magazine follower. I lubed up the entire bolt release, bolt catch mechanism. Wiped down the walls of the receiver, lubed the walls of the receiver, lubed inside the barrel, lubed the bolt all around, lubed the trigger guard, cleaned and lubed everything, and wiped off any excess. And then I wiped down the gun. Wiped down the gun to just make sure there's no oil and stuff on the wood. So I went shopping for shells yesterday, and this is pretty much what was available. Estate. So I'm good with this. It's decent velocity, 1325, double-aught buck, 12 gauge. Nine pellets, double-aught buck. It's probably it's 9 pellets of 30 cal buckshot, so it's probably like up to a half ounce. Like yeah, somewhere up around a half ounce, maybe a little bit below. So these are low brass, and we got 50. So we shot 466 rounds on the last up to this point. And so this 50 rounds is going to put us past the 500 round mark. So I'm pretty happy about that. This is going to be the 500 round day. And I'm just withholding my expectations to see what's going to happen. It's all the same stuff. So we're not alternating, different kinds of loads today. And it'll be interesting to see how it goes. Right on. This looks like, this doesn't exactly look like the cleanest stuff. The State was $30 a box. So anyway, let's get shooting. Okay, State, 12 gauge, 2 3/4, buckshot, somewhere around 1.5 ounces. I'll put it up on the screen. It's going to be all Estate, and it looks like we're shooting 7 loads of 7 today. Okay, so I got a 250-yard field in front of me. There's no dirt backstop, but we're shooting a stump at a steep down angle, and I can see everything in front of me. Seven. Everything's clear. Shoot some more. All right, round two. 7 in the gun. Seven. All clear. Round 3. 7 in the shotgun. All clear. Round 4. 7 loaded. Whoa. There we go. We got a failure here. Oh, interesting. Interesting. That was an FTF, first failure to fire we've had. And there's no sign of ignition of an impact on primer. So that's interesting. Let's see what we can do here. Put this back in the gun. Here we go. Same thing. Failure to fire. All right, let's check it out, see what's going on. Okay, so I disassembled the shotgun. I checked the firing pin. I checked the trigger mechanism to make sure it's going off right. Everything looks like it's set up properly. So I'm not sure why those rounds are not even showing an impact from the firing pin. Something's weird there. So let's see if it works now, just from disassembly, reassembly. Okay, we got 7 in the gun. Here we go. Okay, we got FTE here. 1 failure to fire, 2 failures to fire, 1 FTE. Shell is not leaving the breech. All right, let's just finish this off here. All right, shoot some more. See how she does. Another FTE. Interesting. FTEs all day long here. All right, here we go. Got empty casing stuck in the breech. Just an empty casing. Failure to eject. All right, let's load some more. Estate, 7 in the gun. Here we go. Right on. Well, I was holding the gun a little bit more firmly there. Let's see how she does in the last 4 rounds, last 5 rounds. Okay, state. We got 5 here. Failure to eject. The shell is not even hooked by the ejector. All right, here we go. Failure to eject. Not sure I'm liking this estate. Right on. Okay. There we go. Another interesting round of testing. I'm gonna review the footage and I'll get back to you. Totally wild. Whoa, man, what a shootout. There we go, stump busting. I love it. That's a perfect freaking target for shotgun. Rotten stump. Oh yeah, wow, I was really surprised by today's shotgun performance. I'm kind of wondering if it's these shells, because that was probably some of the worst performance I've seen. So there's our cleanup. Right on. I'll get back to you. So before we started today, we were at 466 rounds. And we shot 50 rounds today of the estate buckshot. And so that puts us at 516 rounds. We shot sets of 7. And a lot of those sets were just fine. Gun cycle fine. Shotgun performed flawlessly. We did have 7 errors though. So 43 out of 50 rounds were positive. That's a percentage, that's 86%. 86%. 2 of the errors were failure to fire. There's no evidence of fire and pin strike on primers, which is really interesting, and that was consecutive shells. I disassembled the gun, inspected the bolt, the firing pin, and the trigger pack, and didn't see anything odd there. Reassembled it. After reassembly, we didn't have any more failures to fire. So in that particular instance, I'm thinking possibly, maybe, that's related to something in the gun, some garbage in the gun. Maybe something from the shell. Who knows? What was interesting though is in both instances of the failure to fire, you could hear the hammer hit the pin. Click, click. So the hammer's coming down on the pin, but the pin is not moving forward. So I'm thinking maybe there's something going on. Maybe the bolt was just not in the ready position. Maybe there was something obstructing the pin, the firing pin. It's hard to tell. But there was no evidence of impact on the primers for those shells. Then we had 5 failures to eject. And usually, from all my testing, FTEs are related to low gas, not enough gas in the system. So what I'm thinking is, I've never cleaned the gas chamber. Like, I've cleaned the piston, but I've never cleaned the gas chamber. And I remember when I put the piston in today, it seemed like it was just a little bit more snug than normal. And I looked in there and there's a lot of carbon in there. So out of all the cleaning I've done, I've never cleaned the gas chamber. So I'm thinking that I'm gonna clean the inside of the collar that holds the piston. That's the gas chamber. That's where the gas ports are at. So that's interesting. One thing that's good to note, one good piece of news, is that we didn't have any lifter errors today, which is sweet. So the lifter and the lifter mechanism and everything was very well lubricated. The magazine tube was cleaned and lightly oiled. The spring and the shell follower were also cleaned and lightly oiled. So we didn't have any loading errors related to the lifter. We didn't have any end-on lifter impacts either. So that's nice. That was very nice. I wasn't able to put that 8th round in for a ghost load. Because of the way these shells are crimped, they're just a little bit longer. And that's why I was shooting 7s instead of 8s. I did some research, and from everything I've read, Estate is good shot shell. It's good shot shell. Most people like it. Very few people have an issue with it. So the plan for the next round of shooting is going to be to get some more Estate. I mean, if that's the stuff I'm having problems with, we'll get some more Estate, and we're going to clean the gas chamber, clean the gun, just like we have before. And this time I'm just going to have a checklist of everything to keep clean. And we're going to run 50 more rounds of that Estate and see how it does. So, really interesting. I did enjoy blasting that stump though. That was fun. That makes a great target. And I'm looking forward to the next round of shooting. So the gun is not broken. It's functioning just fine. For many of the 7-round sets we did today, the gun was functioning just fine. And the firing pin appears to be in good shape. The hammer's in good shape. You could hear the hammer hit the pin. It was a good solid click. So the only outlier that I can think of today is that after 516 rounds, I haven't cleaned the gas chamber. So we're going to do that next time. Anyway, it was fun shooting. I loved it. Oh, one more thing. Holding the shotgun. Okay, so it's a semi-auto shotgun. And if you're holding it off shoulder, I mean, a lot of shotguns have got really good designs, and you can hold them upside down. You can do exhibition shooting with them. You can do all sorts of trick shots and stuff, and they go off at every angle and every direction. This trigger shotgun's not like that. So I'm gonna focus next time on just making sure I got a really good base in my shoulder, that the stock is nicely mounted in my shoulder, because there were some times today where I was not really focusing on things and I was holding it pretty loose. And I'm not making excuses, but with a gas gun, with this kind of gas gun, it's probably good to be, to hold the gun in a very stable position. So that's all I have for now. Thanks for joining me, and stay free, work hard, play hard. God bless America. This is the Owl, signing off.